Imagine a place where the customs surrounding marriage seem to challenge all logic and common sense, where even the most ordinary everyday elements hold profound symbolic meaning, and where traditions are so unique that they have no parallels anywhere else in the world. Picture a land where cow dung is not regarded as something filthy or repulsive, but rather celebrated as a symbol of prosperity and wealth. Envision children being baptized not in simple water, but in icy, glacial streams, through rituals that have been passed down through countless generations and remain entirely unmatched by any global tradition. This extraordinary land, this mysterious and ancient plateau known as Tibet, the very roof of the world, offers a daily life that is truly astonishing in its richness and peculiarity. In this video, we will explore 15 rare and astonishing customs that are exclusive to this remote, snow-laden country. Some of these traditions might surprise you with their boldness and uniqueness, while others could challenge your previous understanding of cultural norms. These customs are a testament to a society that has preserved its ancient ways amidst the rugged, high-altitude landscape, creating a way of life that is as fascinating as it is bewildering. Let's begin with the very first tradition, which will undoubtedly seem almost mind-boggling at first glance. In traditional Tibetan culture, there exists a remarkable belief regarding the readiness for marriage. According to this custom, young women are encouraged to engage in intimate relationships with at least 20 men before they are deemed prepared for marriage. At first, such a notion might appear shocking or even outrageous to outsiders, but it is rooted in a deeply held conviction that marriage to an inexperienced woman can bring misfortune and hardship to the husband's family. Contrary to many cultures around the world where chastity and virginity are highly valued, Tibetan society takes a different stance. In Tibet, girls are expected to demonstrate their experience and social maturity by collecting symbolic signs, marks or tokens, after each relationship, which serve as evidence of their life experience. This practice underscores a very different perspective on female sexuality, emphasizing social harmony and stability over notions of purity. Even more intriguing is the existence of polygyny and polyandry in certain Tibetan communities. It is not uncommon for one woman to marry several brothers simultaneously, a tradition called polyandry. In these arrangements, the eldest brother is generally regarded as the primary spouse, with the younger brothers sharing in the responsibilities of husbandry and household management. This ancient custom emerged as a practical solution to the challenging environment of Tibet, where land was precious and difficult to divide. By marrying brothers instead of splitting land among heirs, families could retain their property and avoid conflicts, thus ensuring their survival in the harsh mountain terrain. From a modern perspective, such practices might seem complicated or even perplexing, but they were carefully devised strategies for social cohesion and survival. They reflect a thoughtful adaptation to a difficult environment, emphasizing family unity and resource preservation in a land where every ounce of arable land is vital. Now, moving on to the second extraordinary tradition. I am entirely serious when I say that in Tibet, the more cow dung that adorns the walls of a house, the wealthier that family is considered. At first glance, this might evoke feelings of disgust or surprise, but for the local Tibetans, it is a clear indicator of affluence and prosperity. The brown stains on the walls are seen as a visual testament to a household's cattle wealth, since cattle are a primary source of livelihood in this high-altitude world. In Tibet, cattle are not merely animals, they embody wealth and stability. The manure they produce is highly valued and does not emit a foul smell as one might expect. This is because Tibetan cows are fed only the purest mountain grasses and drink crystal-clear mountain water, which results in manure that, when burned, produces a scent reminiscent of dry grass rather than waste. Interestingly, Tibetans even make flatbreads from cow dung, which tourists often find curious and often line up to taste. These flatbreads, made from the dried manure, are claimed by locals to be perfectly safe and even healthy to eat, adding yet another layer of the extraordinary nature of Tibetan traditions. Would you be willing to add such an exotic and unconventional destination to your travel list? That choice is entirely yours. This is a land where the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary blurs, and where customs that seem bizarre or shocking to outsiders are, in fact, deeply rooted in centuries of practical wisdom and spiritual belief. Finally, let us explore a part of Tibetan culture that may challenge conventional notions of life and death but reveals a profound philosophy of compassion and understanding. Instead of opting for traditional burial or cremation, many Tibetans practice what is known as sky burial. In this sacred ritual, the deceased's body is carefully prepared by specialists, then placed on a mountaintop where it is left exposed to the elements and scavenging vultures. This practice is not an act of violence or neglect but is viewed as the highest expression of compassion. It embodies, according to Tibetan beliefs, when a person passes away, their soul is thought to have already departed from the physical body. This perspective implies that the soul's final journey, its ultimate purpose, is fulfilled once it leaves the body, often symbolically transforming into nourishment for other living beings. Such a notion reflects a profound understanding rooted in Buddhist values, emphasizing the importance of selflessness, the interconnectedness of all life, and the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It is an idea that underscores the belief that death is not an end but a vital part of life's eternal flow. Beyond its spiritual significance, this tradition also serves a practical purpose. The rugged, unforgiving landscape of Tibet makes traditional burial methods exceedingly difficult, especially in the high-altitude regions where burial sites are hard to establish. Moreover, the scarcity of fuel for cremation further complicates the process of disposing of the dead through fire. As a result, this practice of sky burial, where the body is left exposed to the elements, arises naturally from both spiritual convictions and pragmatic necessity. Symbolically, the sight of vultures soaring into the sky is interpreted as a sign that the soul is ascending to heaven. The image of these birds circling above is deeply intertwined with Tibetan spiritual symbolism, representing the soul's liberation and ascent to a higher realm. How does this perspective resonate with you? Does contemplating this approach to death alter your view of the relationship between humans and nature? Does it challenge or deepen your understanding of mortality? I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on this striking cultural practice. Please feel free to share your impressions and reflections in the comments. I find it fascinating to explore such profound differences in cultural attitudes toward death and the natural cycle of life. Moving on to a different aspect of Tibetan life, let me share a remarkable fact that might seem almost unbelievable in today's modern world. In Tibet, there exists a city called Nagak, which covers an area exceeding 160,000 square kilometers. Despite its vast size, this city is home to approximately 500,000 residents, and notably, it contains not a single living tree. This is particularly astonishing because even the most desolate deserts around the world typically support at least some form of vegetation, yet Nagak remains completely devoid of trees. The reason for this extraordinary landscape is not due to a lack of knowledge about agriculture or a failure of human effort. Rather, it is because the environment itself is inhospitable to tree growth. Situated at an altitude of over 4,500 meters above sea level, Nagak faces some of the harshest conditions on the planet. The ground remains permanently frozen, making it impossible for roots to penetrate and establish themselves. For thousands of years, local authorities have attempted to introduce trees into the area, even offering substantial financial rewards, amounting to hundreds of thousands of yuan, to anyone who could successfully grow a tree capable of surviving the brutal winters. Despite these generous incentives and relentless efforts, no one has yet managed to cultivate a resilient tree in Nagak, and the challenge remains unresolved to this day. Now, we are venturing into a realm that borders on the mystical and the inexplicable. Mount Kailas in Tibet is not just an ordinary mountain. It is a sacred site where the realms of mathematics, spirituality, and mystery converge in such a bizarre and fascinating way that even scientists find themselves perplexed. The height of Mount Kailas has been recorded as exactly 6.66 meters, an astonishing coincidence that has captured the imagination of many. Furthermore, the distance from Mount Kailas to the ancient monument of Stonehenge is precisely 6.66 kilometers, while the distance from Kailas to the North Pole is exactly 6.6666 kilometers. To the South Pole, this distance doubles to 13.332 kilometers, creating an intriguing numerical symmetry. Adding to this enigma, the distance from the well-known Mexican pyramid to the Great Pyramid of Egypt is exactly 3 times the distance from the Egyptian pyramid to Mount Kailas. Moreover, the distance from Mount Kailas to Easter Island is 3 times greater than the distance from Kailas to Stonehenge. Despite being a relatively modest peak within the Himalayan range, no climbers have ever successfully conquered Mount Kailas. Many who attempt the ascent report strange phenomena. Some claim their compasses spin wildly near the summit, while others describe a sensation that time seems to flow differently in that vicinity. The local Tibetan inhabitants hold Mount Kailas in the highest reverence, considering it utterly sacred and believing that attempting to climb it would bring catastrophic consequences not only for the individual climber but potentially for the entire world. In Tibet, another intriguing custom involves greeting each other by sticking out the tongue. This peculiar tradition has a surprisingly dark and fascinating origin story. It dates back to the 12th century and is closely associated with a king named Langdarma. Known for his cruelty and relentless persecution of Buddhists, Langdarma's reign left a dark mark on Tibetan history. The act of protruding the tongue became a symbolic gesture. A way legend has it that this notorious king had a tongue as black as coal, a vivid image that has persisted through centuries. When he passed away, the Tibetan people grew increasingly anxious, fearing that his malevolent spirit might be reborn among them once more. To prevent such a dark rebirth, a simple yet meaningful test was devised. The tradition involves the act of sticking out one's tongue during an encounter, serving as a silent declaration that the individual is not the reincarnation of the evil ruler. Over time, this gesture evolved into a cultural symbol, conveying a message of peace and sincerity. Today, when a Tibetan greets you with this distinctive gesture, it is as if they are saying, "I come with good intentions," a silent affirmation of their openness and goodwill. This tradition has persisted for over 1,000 years, embodying a deep-rooted belief in the importance of honesty and spiritual purity in Tibetan society. If you find these remarkable cultural insights fascinating, it's worth exploring further and keeping an eye out for more intriguing discoveries. Such knowledge enriches our understanding of human history and the diverse ways communities adapt to their environments. The following facts, in particular, will challenge and expand your perception of human resilience and survival strategies. Let us begin with the 7th fact. In certain regions of Tibet, an ancient and profoundly meaningful ritual is performed for children, reflecting both the extreme climate and the strength of local traditions. On a child's first birthday, the most respected woman in the village, often a grandmother or elder, may lift the newborn and carry him or her to a nearby glacial stream. There, the child is briefly immersed in the icy water, with only the head remaining above the surface. This ritual is more than a mere rite of passage. It is believed to forge a stronger bond between the child and the natural world, demonstrating the child's capacity to adapt to the formidable environmental conditions of high-altitude life. If the child reacts with lively activity and remains alert during this immersion, it is seen as a sign of vitality and good health. Conversely, if the child appears weak or lethargic, it draws concern from the community, highlighting their profound understanding of the critical importance of resilience for survival at such elevations. This deep connection to environmental adaptation is further supported by the remarkable genetic traits Tibetans possess. Their bodies have evolved to cope with the challenges of their harsh surroundings, thanks to genetic adaptations that date back to ancient Denisovan ancestors. These adaptations enable Tibetans to efficiently absorb oxygen despite the thin air and to tolerate extreme cold temperatures. Such biological features are a testament to the community's extraordinary ability to survive and thrive in a climate that would be nearly impossible for most other populations. Moving on to the 8th fascinating fact, we encounter a paradox that perfectly exemplifies the unique nature of Tibet. Though Tibet is renowned for its traditional butter tea, a drink that holds vital cultural and survival significance, it is quite astonishing that no tea plants grow naturally within its rugged landscape. For Tibetans, butter tea is more than just a beverage, it is essentially liquid life. This warm, nourishing drink provides vital energy and helps maintain body warmth in the freezing temperatures that characterize the region. It supplies the essential nutrients needed for survival at altitude, where agriculture is virtually impossible due to the extreme conditions. Given this scarcity of local tea plants, Tibetans have historically had to import tea leaves from distant lands, sometimes as far as 1,000 kilometers away. This necessity led to the creation of one of the most legendary trade routes in human history, the Chainikin Road. This nearly 400-kilometer-long path winds through some of the most treacherous mountain passes in the world. Traders, seeking to exchange precious horses for tea, established this vital artery connecting Tibet to the outside world. This trade route not only facilitated the movement of goods but also fostered cultural exchanges and economic ties that have persisted for centuries. But what makes Tibetan tea truly extraordinary is not just its journey but its preparation. Instead of brewing the tea in a conventional manner, Tibetans have developed a unique method of whisking the tea leaves with brightly colored butter and salt. The resulting beverage resembles a thick soup more than a traditional cup of tea. This rich, savory drink, often consumed in dozens of cups daily, has become indispensable in Tibetan life. It is served to guests as a gesture of hospitality, consumed during prayer rituals, and functions as both sustenance and comfort in a land where cultivating crops is almost impossible. In this way, butter tea embodies the resilience and ingenuity of Tibetan culture, demonstrating how resourcefulness can turn scarcity into a cherished tradition that sustains and unites a community. In conclusion, these remarkable facts about Tibet, ranging from ancient rituals and genetic adaptations to extraordinary trade routes and culinary innovations, offer profound insights into how humans can adapt and flourish in some of the most extreme environments on Earth. They reveal a civilization deeply rooted in tradition, yet constantly evolving to meet the demands of survival in a challenging landscape. Number 9. Imagine the vibrant sight of brightly colored flags fluttering gracefully against the clear, azure sky of Tibet. These flags are far more than mere decorative elements. They are the revered Lungta prayer flags, an integral part of one of the most exquisite and profound spiritual traditions the world has ever known. Each of these flags is inscribed with sacred mantras and prayers, carefully crafted to carry spiritual blessings. At the very center of each banner lies the symbol of a wind-blown horse, a powerful emblem representing the three jewels of Buddhism, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, embodying the essence of enlightenment, wisdom, and compassion. Surrounding this central motif, in each of the four corners, are depicted symbolic animals, each carrying its own spiritual significance. The majestic Garuda bird, a symbol of wisdom and divine insight. The mighty dragon, representing strength and protection. The fierce tiger, embodying unwavering faith. And the snow lion, standing for fearlessness and courage in the face of adversity. These prayer flags are intentionally designed to be temporary. They are expected to fade, fray, and gradually deteriorate over time, especially under the challenging conditions of the Himalayan mountains. Tibetan belief holds that as the flags weaken and fade, their prayers are carried away by the wind, spreading blessings and goodwill to all living beings across the universe. The more worn and tattered a flag becomes, the more blessings it is believed to have already dispersed into the world, acting as a conduit for spiritual energy and compassion. There are also strict traditional rules governing the handling and disposal of these flags. For instance, if a prayer flag falls to the ground, it is considered disrespectful to step on it. Instead, it should be gently placed on higher ground or entrusted to someone knowledgeable about proper disposal practices. Additionally, the timing of hanging these flags is crucial. Doing so on inauspicious days is believed to be an ill omen that could bring misfortune rather than blessings. Only specific days deemed spiritually auspicious are suitable for this sacred act. Historically, these flags were so treasured that they were given as precious gifts to a son upon his wedding day. They were regarded as more valuable than material possessions, symbolizing spiritual prosperity, divine protection, and the blessings of a fortunate life. Number 10. Tibet is famously regarded as the birthplace of the legendary Yeti, a mysterious creature that has captivated human imagination for generations. Despite numerous scientific expeditions and extensive research conducted over decades, the legend persists, stirring curiosity and debate worldwide. The evidence remains inconclusive. Strange footprints in the snow that do not match any known animal, perplexing samples of coarse, unclassified fur that resist DNA analysis, and blurry photographs or shaky videos that could easily be mistaken for anything or anyone. Even the discovery of supposedly frozen bodies has been met with skepticism, often revealed to be either elaborate hoaxes or creatures misidentified by researchers. What makes the Yeti particularly fascinating to Tibetans is that, for many of them, the creature is not just a myth or a story crafted for tourists. They consider the Yeti as real as the snow leopards that inhabit their mountains, an elusive, spiritual presence rooted deeply in their cultural consciousness. Numerous expeditions have ventured into the remote and harsh terrains of Tibet, employing cutting-edge technology such as thermal imaging and advanced DNA analysis. Some teams have uncovered intriguing clues, while others have returned empty-handed. Yet, none have provided definitive proof that conclusively confirms the existence of this mysterious being. The question remains, is it possible that an unknown creature still roams the frozen wilderness of Tibet, hidden from human eyes? Or is the Yeti merely a product of folklore, shaped and sustained by the passage of time, natural imagination, and cultural storytelling? This question continues to divide opinion and spark lively debates across the globe. What do you think? Could there still be a living Yeti, lurking silently in the icy vastness? Or is it simply a myth, an enduring legend woven into the fabric of Tibetan culture? Share your thoughts in the comments. This mystery has persisted for many generations, and the discussion is far from over. Number 11. The city of Lhasa, the spiritual and political heart of Tibet, is home to one of the most architecturally breathtaking structures on Earth, the Potala Palace. This monumental edifice appears almost to defy the laws of physics, as if it has grown organically from the surrounding rocky cliffs rather than having been constructed by human hands. Its towering white and red walls, intricate design, and commanding presence make it a marvel of engineering and artistry. But the significance of the Potala Palace extends far beyond its stunning appearance. It is not merely a grand monument but a symbol of Tibetan spiritual life, cultural resilience, and historical grandeur. Nestled high amidst the rugged peaks, there stands an extraordinary fortress that rises to 13 stories, comprising over 1,000 intricately designed rooms. This colossal structure is perched at such lofty elevations that most visitors find it challenging to breathe comfortably, yet it stands as a testament to human ingenuity. The methods employed in its construction continue to mystify modern engineers, who marvel at how such a feat was achieved with the limited technology available centuries ago. For countless generations, this architectural marvel has served as the winter residence for the Dalai Lamas, making it not only an imposing monument of stone and craftsmanship but also a sacred home imbued with spiritual significance. Despite the passage of time, the fortress remains an extraordinary engineering achievement, an achievement that seems almost impossible given the circumstances. Every stone, every timber used to build this palace was painstakingly carried up the mountain by hand, a laborious process that defies modern convenience. The extreme climate, with its biting cold and unpredictable weather, restricted construction to only brief, manageable seasons each year. Yet, Tibetan artisans and craftsmen, with their extraordinary skills and unwavering dedication, managed to erect a structure so resilient that it has withstood earthquakes, the ravages of war, and centuries of relentless weathering. Today, the palace is divided into two primary sections: the White Palace, primarily used for administrative and official purposes, and the Red Palace, which is dedicated to spiritual ceremonies and religious practices. Inside these walls, one can find a treasure trove of frescoes, tombs, artworks, and chapels that reflect the deep, centuries-old Tibetan culture intertwined with Buddhist philosophy. Even after the Dalai Lama was forced into exile, the palace's role transformed into a museum, yet its spiritual influence persisted. Pilgrims from distant lands continue to journey thousands of kilometers, walking through its sacred halls, seeking to connect with the profound energy that fills every chamber and corridor of this revered site. Now, shifting focus to a striking fact that might drastically alter your understanding of Tibet's role on the global stage. This remote and sparsely populated region supplies fresh water to nearly half of the world's population. Tibet holds the third position worldwide in terms of freshwater volume, trailing only the icy expanses of the North and South Poles. Because of this, it is often called the Third Pole. The enormous glaciers and snowfields that blanket the Tibetan Plateau serve as the vital source of Asia's most significant rivers, including the Brahmaputra, the Ganges, the Indus, the Ing, the Ming, the Salween, and the Yans. These rivers are not merely sources of drinking water. They sustain agriculture, power industries, and support entire civilizations across multiple countries. Over 2 billion people depend directly or indirectly on water originating from Tibetan glaciers. This means that nearly 47% of the global population relies on this one region for the most essential resource on Earth, fresh water. However, the rapid advance of climate change is accelerating the melting of these glaciers at an unprecedented rate. Scientists warn that if this trend continues unchecked, many of these glaciers could disappear within a few decades, precipitating a colossal water crisis that would impact billions of lives worldwide. The lakes and rivers of Tibet, such as Namso and Yamdrok, are often celebrated for their scenic beauty, but they serve a far more crucial purpose. They are natural reservoirs that regulate the water flow across the continent. When these vital sources are threatened by environmental changes, the repercussions ripple across Asia, affecting agriculture, industry, and daily life for millions. The stability of the entire region depends heavily on these fragile natural systems, which are now under increasing threat. Finally, one of the most fascinating aspects of Tibetan culture is its meticulous and organized approach to finding reincarnated spiritual leaders, particularly the Dalai Lama. This process is far from being a random or purely mystical practice. It is governed by a strict set of rules, traditions, and careful checks that have been refined over centuries. When a Dalai Lama passes away, senior monks undertake a complex interpretive process, examining signs, prophetic verses, visions, and personal belongings left behind by the deceased, all of which are believed to provide clues about his rebirth. These signs are often subtle and require deep spiritual insight to interpret correctly. Following this, search parties are dispatched to remote villages, sometimes traveling across vast, difficult terrains, often guided by revelations received from highly respected lamas. When the search narrows down to a promising candidate, typically a young child, a series of rigorous tests and examinations are conducted to verify whether the child truly embodies the qualities and spiritual essence of the previous Dalai Lama. This elaborate process ensures that the tradition remains rooted in spiritual integrity and cultural continuity, reaffirming the deep reverence Tibetans hold for their spiritual leaders and the sacred cycle of reincarnation that they believe sustains their religious and cultural identity. The recognition of spiritual leaders, especially within Tibetan Buddhism, is a process of profound significance that goes far beyond mere identification. For a Dalai Lama, it is believed that the recognition involves perceiving the soul of the previous incarnation and discerning qualities that are not easily observable to the untrained eye. The new Dalai Lama must demonstrate exceptional awareness, a heightened sense of intuition, and traits that distinguish him from ordinary children. These qualities are believed to be the result of a special spiritual destiny. The current 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, was identified at a remarkably young age in a humble village inhabited by farmers. His recognition was not based on lineage, wealth, or political power but was rooted in spiritual insight and tradition. Once identified, he was brought to the spiritual and political center of Tibet, Lhasa, where he received comprehensive education in Buddhist teachings, philosophy, and leadership. This recognition system is entirely unique in the world, rooted in the deep Tibetan belief that certain souls are destined to reincarnate and serve humanity repeatedly. This tradition has persisted through centuries, enduring political upheavals, invasions, and occupation. Despite these challenges, the spiritual lineage has remained alive and vibrant, preserving the sacred practices and teachings handed down through generations. It exemplifies a rare continuity of spiritual authority that is not dependent on temporal power but on a profound belief in the cycle of rebirth and divine purpose. Turning now to a lesser-known yet extraordinary element of Tibetan culture, an agricultural marvel that has quietly become one of humanity's most remarkable achievements. This is Tibetan barley, often called mountain barley, a crop that holds a special place in the high-altitude landscape of Tibet and the surrounding regions. It is the only cultivated plant that consistently thrives at elevations ranging from 3,000 to 5,000 meters above sea level, where conditions are typically too harsh for most other crops to survive. Over thousands of years, Tibetan barley has undergone remarkable adaptation, allowing it to endure extreme climatic conditions. It can withstand brutal frosts that can destroy other plants, cope with the intense ultraviolet radiation that pierces the thin atmosphere, and grow within a very short growing season, sometimes just a few months. Despite these formidable challenges, this resilient grain offers exceptional nutritional benefits, making it an essential staple for the Tibetan people. In terms of nutrition, Tibetan barley surpasses many other grains. It is rich in protein, dietary fiber, and contains vital amino acids that are crucial for human health. Among these amino acids, lysine stands out because the human body cannot synthesize it on its own, making it an indispensable part of the diet. Thanks to this supergrain, Tibetans have developed a rich culinary tradition that revolves around barley, turning it into a foundation for many traditional dishes. One of the most common forms of barley in Tibetan cuisine is sampa, roasted barley flour, that serves as the base for numerous regional delicacies. This flour is used to prepare a variety of hearty foods, such as thukpa, thick, nourishing noodles made from barley, and chan, a fermented barley beer that provides both sustenance and energy in an environment where caloric intake is often limited. These foods are more than nourishment. They are an integral part of Tibetan cultural identity and daily life. Mountain barley transcends its role as mere sustenance. It functions as a potent cultural symbol. It appears prominently in religious rituals, especially during major holidays and ceremonies, symbolizing abundance, good fortune, and longevity. The grain's significance extends beyond nourishment to embody spiritual values, connecting the people to their land and their traditions. Finally, we arrive at a fact that vividly captures the deep bond between human resilience and the sacred landscape of Tibet. We will explore some of the most awe-inspiring and spiritually profound sites in the region, monasteries and temples perched atop towering peaks, seemingly reaching toward the heavens. These structures are not merely architectural marvels. They are physical manifestations of Tibetan spiritual beliefs, which hold that mountains are sacred abodes of divine beings and ideal places for prayer and meditation. Constructing these monasteries high above the ground was an extraordinary feat of engineering and devotion. Every stone, every wooden beam, and every decorative element was transported by hand along treacherous mountain paths, often in perilous conditions. The work was arduous, with the thin, oxygen-depleted air sapping strength and the unpredictable mountain weather halting construction for weeks at a time. Yet, despite these difficulties, the monasteries continued to rise, defying gravity and nature's obstacles. Remarkably, locations such as Rongbuk at the foot of Mount Everest and the Tiger's Nest in Bhutan seem to cling precariously to the cliffs, as if defying gravity itself. These sacred sites are not isolated from their surroundings. Rather, they merge seamlessly with the natural environment, becoming an extension of the landscape's grandeur. They symbolize the unity between spiritual aspiration and the majestic natural world, embodying the Tibetan view that the mountains are not merely physical features but divine and sacred spaces where heaven and earth meet. These monasteries serve more than just Tibet as a land rich in history, spirituality, and mystery, home to ancient institutions where monks dedicate their lives to the study of medicine, astronomy, and philosophy. These venerable centers serve not only as educational establishments but also as custodians of priceless ancient manuscripts and exquisite works of art, preserving the cultural heritage of centuries gone by. Beyond their scholarly purpose, these institutions act as sanctuaries, peaceful retreats where individuals seeking refuge can disconnect from the chaos of the outside world and turn inward, focusing on cultivating inner tranquility and spiritual harmony. Throughout this journey of exploration, we uncovered 15 astonishing, enigmatic, and truly unforgettable facts about Tibet. From its unique marriage customs that defy conventional understanding, to awe-inspiring temples perched at the very edge of the sky, Tibet continuously challenges and expands our perceptions of human resilience, spirituality, and the essence of survival. The region's extraordinary traditions and breathtaking landscapes reveal a world where the human spirit endures against all odds, inspiring awe and admiration. Out of all these remarkable facts, which one resonated with you the most and caught you completely off guard? We are genuinely curious. Please share your thoughts and tell us what left you speechless. Your insights help us understand what captivates our viewers and enrich the conversation about this mystical land. We sincerely hope you enjoyed today's exploration into Tibet's secrets and wonders. If the journey resonated with you, please consider supporting us by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Your encouragement enables us to continue producing more captivating and insightful content about the world's most intriguing places. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video, which will appear on your screen shortly. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. And don't forget to leave a comment telling us which country or region you would like us to explore next. Your suggestions inspire our future adventures. Thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.